It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, today I wanted to bring Gary Thomas, the owner of Leap Managed IT out of Indiana, back on the end of the day with Ray. You know, there's a lot of dealers within the imaging channel that are trying to pivot into IT services. They've been trying to do it for about 10 years. And I wanted to bring Gary on because Gary's made that pivot. He's built a nice, successful IT business there in Indiana, and I wanted to share some of his story with the audience. Gary, how are you doing, man?
Hi, Ray. I'm doing well. Thanks for putting all these together. I think we're just like everybody else. We're trying to figure out what the new normal, which I hate the term, but where we're all headed. But I think we all have a really good idea of what the path looks like. So thanks for having me.
Well, Gary, it's people like you that create the new normal, as I keep saying. You know, we got to go out there and create that new normal. You started creating your new normal for a dealership that was focused on copy and print about, 6-7 years ago, and you've made this transition, and I wanted to share some of those statistics that you put together because I think it's interesting for our friends in the imaging channel to see. But Gary, let me ask you a question. When you started out, and you decided, hey, as an organization, we've got to get into IT services. You put your business plan together. I know you spent some time with me and Milton when I was at ImageQuest, and you were talking with other, successful managed service providers. But when you started this process, how long did you think it would take you before your services revenue for IT would surpass your print revenue services? How long did you think that would take?
Well, I think we were unrealistic. Everybody told us how easy it was going to be, so that was the biggest challenge. I thought within 18 months to 2 years, we would have that down pat where IT revenue would eclipse print revenue. That obviously did not happen, but we learned a lot, thanks to you and Milton for sure, and we had some good partners along the way that we learned from. Some of them we're not with anymore, but we learned a lot with them why our time was there.
Well, I'd like to see, I know you put a chart together to show this, but here's the difference, my friends. When you're in the imaging channel and you have this print revenue coming in, and I'm not talking about the hardware, forget about the hardware, focus on your services revenue. It's hard for you to picture yourself building an IT services business having more revenue in that than you do the print services. And when you focus on that print services revenue, and that's your blood, you don't pay attention to the IT services revenue. But when you focus on the IT services revenue, you will cross the line. But here's the good thing. It's not because your print services really went down. It's because you raised the bar on your IT services because you're not stupid to walk away from print when it's obviously sitting in front of you. So it's not like you're going to lose that revenue. But show us this chart because I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, watching the videos the last couple of days, I was really curious about a couple things, and I think it highlights for us, how do we look at what we're doing potentially a little bit different. So let me see if I can get my screen shared out so you can see it, and I'll try to make it maybe a little bit bigger. How light is when
there you go.
So you should be able to see that. One of the pieces that I looked at was, where do our clients come from in terms of, a new IT client. I think we've done a good job, but we can obviously improve quite a bit. That if we look at our current IT customers, where do they come from? About 40% of those have been, they were already, copier, printer, scanner customers with us. So they were already used to writing us a check, and we had what we would consider a very strong relationship. If we look at the other huge bucket is that marketing piece, which we could break down into quite a few different elements, whether that's SEO, whether that is, inbound of some sort, us doing other campaigns of mailing things out, social media, all sorts of things. We're looking at, roughly 50% of all of our net new business is coming in that way. Two buckets that I really need to work on is our current IT referrals. When we do get those, they're gold. That business owner or leader has already a relationship with somebody else. And as soon as they know that they have a problem or issue, and obviously just a referral relationship of the CPAs of the world, friends that are turning over referrals to us because they trust what we do.
Well, I look at this slide where it says print clients 40%. And I think you're unique. You're kind of an anomaly because your business started in 1930. And so
Yes.
when I see where you say current IT referrals are only 4%, I think realistically, if you looked at your print client base now, those are a lot of referrals where you're getting your IT business. So you kind of, it's just a different model for you because of the relationships of the organization, which proves that if you're one of those dealers that's been in the market forever, since 1930, 40, 50 years, you're going to have an easier transition with those print customers. But those are interesting statistics. Because,
yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to track this data and probably start breaking things down a lot more on what we need to be doing to find our next customer. Because I will say it's very expensive if you break down your marketing budget to add a managed IT customer to the mix.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, show me that slide. I want to see that revenue. There we go.
So the other thing I did, which you kind of challenged me to do in some of the thoughts, was what's our IT revenue versus our print revenue through end of 19. We'll talk about what it looks like potentially moving forward, which none of us do. An interesting piece. I then looked at when did we move our help desk team from outsourcing it. We were with Collaborants at one time, and they did a good job for us, and then we moved over to Continuum. But the thing we found out is clients were circumventing the help desk, path to get to our people because they wanted to do business with Leap.
Well, I think it's an operational maturity thing too. I think as IT companies grow and get more sophisticated, especially with a print deliverable too, it's a little easier to bring that in-house. So just so the audience knows, so the brown line here is obviously your managed IT services revenue. The blue line's your print revenue. And we could see in the middle of 2018, you crossed the line. So about a year and a half ago. Of course, now, we're in this free fall, but we don't know how far that's going to fall. But we know it's not going back to 100%. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. We know it's not going back to 100%. I was reading the article yesterday. I can't remember who shared it. I think Greg actually shared it, which I appreciated. Was talking about New York City and what are they doing with facilities and leasing of property and what's that going to do. If we look at our landscape of where our customers are working, they're not going to need heavy technology in these buildings, which include print, if the people are not there. So they're still going to need IT services from working at home or co-working locations or even a smaller footprint.
Well, this is the big slide. I wanted Gary to put some numbers together. I know he does this anyway, but the numbers we wanted to look at, I keep talking about how print is like 2% of the total IT spend. And so Gary took one of his customers and took all the buckets of all the money. So Gary, show us that slide because this is really cool. So
so this was interesting. So yesterday I challenged part of our team, and they've actually broke a lot of these other buckets down since then. That this is a customer that was already a copy print. They were a copy print customer before they turned into an IT customer. They're in the insurance world. They're a broker. Their IT hardware purchases since 2014 is about $75,000. They bought a new phone system in there, and I put an asterisk there. They didn't buy it from us. They already had a previous relationship that they wanted to continue. Print hardware, they have a A3 booklet finisher, Canon image runner, because they send some stuff out to their clients in a booklet format. So about $15,000, they lease that hardware. But then, the most interesting piece is that bottom part, where if we look at HD referencing help desk, on average a month they're spending a little over $4,000. Compliance services, cloud, which also includes email and some other key components to run their business. Their ERP system's hosted. Their internet service provider about $1,500. I just kind of average their project work is about $2,000 a month. We actually have a relationship that we handle all their shredding services, so a whopping $55 a month, and then print maintenance we have is $350, $360 a month. So
okay. So there you go. So it represents 3.2% of the total spend on that contract.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks.
We look at this client relationship since 2014. They've spent $799,976 in IT spend, and roughly we're capturing most of that, or at least we're dictating or helping them with the other providers. So we're kind of helping them drive the ship and making business decisions.
Well, that was my point about vendor management. I mean, obviously you're not an ISP provider, but you help them manage that. And, part of that management is in the help desk revenue that you're getting. So there is money on the table to vendor manage. Let me ask you a question, Gary. Okay, you start out as a print, well, actually you started out as a typewriter company, but you've been a print company for a long, long time. You got into IT services. Your services revenue for IT has surpassed your print services revenue. Would you ever just sell off the print business? I mean, do you need it?
I think that I still think there's a lot of value in print. I think there's value in owning those relationships. I think would I go out tomorrow and buy a copy print dealer in another market? I don't know. I don't know that I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're mature enough in the business that we do that we can repurpose our technicians into a more IT focused, setting up laptops, really turning them into field service people. We've really built a good, strong bench and team. The crystal ball is always broken. So I don't think any of us knew that COVID was happening. Our print business was strong, and the service revenue part is still strong. The sales side of it is a dumpster fire, which everybody's is because the need's not there. So what I don't know, because I think it's helped build our IT infrastructure and deliverable and made us the company we are today. So.
Especially in your case,
that's a non-answer, right?
Well, no, I think in your case, you're an anomaly. You got 40% of your business coming from the print sector. I think another question to ask, when you saw the whatever you want to call it, the buffet of services that you're offering, all that revenue coming in that you're managing, it would be easy enough for an organization such as yourself or any other print company, if they want to just vendor manage the print, they're experts at it, they could easily do that. You could easily negotiate with someone to do service on some printers if you wanted to get out of some of that space. So,
and we do that now. I mean, we take care of clients that are in, Toronto and Houston, Texas. We're based in Indiana, Colorado, throughout the United States and the UK. There's some of those relationships that it wasn't worth us deploying the new Canon, drop shipping it to a dealer, setting it up. I just said, hey, I need you guys to do this, do a good job with our customer. Here's a non-disclosure agreement. And we manage that relationship for the customer because they don't want to deal with it. They want us to help deploy all the technology for no matter where their location is. And these are different kinds of relationships. And I think that's the big challenge that we learned is this is a business conversation. It's not an IT technology conversation. The IT and the technology is just a tool for them to get their job done, just like the copiers, the printers, and the scanners.
Absolutely. And I think, that's where I think some of our friends that are running around talking about putting printers in people's houses for the work from home and, calling that an IT deliverable is kind of loony. But, Gary, hey, it's always great having you on the end of the day with Ray. I appreciate you sharing some of the statistics around your organization. I'm going to look forward to having you on again and watching you grow and become successful. And you never know, this thing's kind of breaking loose. I might run up there to Indiana and see you. So
yeah, come on over. We'll do one of these live, and
that'd be awesome.
We'll get some of the teammates in. They would really appreciate it. And I will say this: I hope everybody's investing in themselves. I think this is a fantastic time to do that. That's really all we have at the end of the day.
Yep.
Send myself a message, send somebody else a message. I'm more than always happy to have conversations, and I want to learn too. We're continuing to try to get better. That's what I really appreciate about what you've done, Ray, to push the button to give us all something to think about, whether we agree with it or not. That doesn't matter.
Sure.
It makes us think, and that's how we have to continue to improve, because our customers need us to continue to evolve, or if not, we're going to be,
well, you got to stay relevant.
Grandmother's typewriter business.
There you go. Because we all know this, Gary. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, Gary.